Hey guys, I'm excited because today we're going to be talking about part two. The week before last, we started talking about how to get more clients to say yes without hesitation. And today is part two where I'm going to give you the final 3 steps. Okay, part two. The week before last, we started talking about how to get more clients to say yes without hesitation. And I had about 6 steps to share with you, but we were running over time, so I gave you the first 3 steps. I asked you guys to take action. I really hope that you guys did. And today is part two where I'm going to give you the final 3 steps, okay? So before we jump in, let me just welcome you all. Those of you who are new to the Female Coaches Society, welcome. Those of you who are watching a snippet of this or a YouTube video of this or listening to this on a podcast, wherever you're seeing this, welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I am Niala Thorpe. I'm a marketing and income strategist. And what I do is I help coaches find and market their unique message so they can consistently sign high paying clients. One of the biggest complaints that I get from the people who I work with is, they seem to attract a lot of people who are not ideal for their service, right? So either they're not getting enough people to become leads, they're not getting enough people to book sales calls with them, or they're getting people to book sales calls. However, they hear a lot of objections like, it's not the right time. I don't have the money. I don't think this is for me. They give excuses. They say they're going to pay and then they don't. And you just go through this feast and famine stage and this stressful stage because what you have is great. You know that you can really help a lot of people. The problem is you need those people to know that. You need them to trust you and you need them to take action on your program and on your services. So this is one of the biggest issues that a lot of my ideal clients struggle with. And one of the things that I talked about now, if you did not watch part one, I highly, highly, highly advise you to watch part one. I'm going to make sure that link gets put below. And you can also find it in our Facebook group, the Female Coaches Society, under the video section. You can see part one. I highly suggest that you do that. I'm going to do a quick recap, but you would not get the deeper information if you don't look at that replay, okay? So one of the ways, or what I'm teaching you in this 2-part series, is understanding how to position yourself. Because the way that you get less objections, the way that you get people to say yes to you without hesitation is by positioning, okay? Is by positioning. So one of the things that I said in part one is that the sale happens way before the sales calls. But a lot of coaches and consultants, they actually think that the most important part of this whole process to getting people to say yes to your programs and services is actually the sales call. And it's not. People should be getting on your sales call knowing that they want to work with you. People should be getting on the sales call literally just to know, what is the program that you're offering? How do I get started? And maybe if they have a few questions to get answered, boom. But they should not be on a sales call, or you shouldn't be on a sales call trying to convince them to work with you, right? And so the sale happens way before you get on the call. And that comes from the positioning, how you show up online, the things that you put out, in what way do you put them out, the messaging around everything that you speak and everything that you write and everything that you do, how you position yourself. Are you establishing the know, like, and trust factor in your content, right? For them to, be so into you and your brand that when they book the call, they already know that you are the coach for them. That is what positioning is. So in part one, we spoke about the first 3 steps, the first 3 things that I wanted you to do, because what you want to do is you want to create something that I call a positioning doc. So when clients come to work with us in any of our programs, because, we first start with your message, everything that we do starts with the positioning, what is your message? Who are you serving? What are you selling? How do you present that? And what words do you present that to make a person understand you clearly? So, people are not like, I don't know what she do. She do something different every week. You know, people should know exactly how you can serve them, how you can help them, right? And it needs to sound unique and not like everyone else, because then you fall into the noise. And that's one of the first things that we do with clients when they come to work with us. And what we create is a positioning doc, right? You think this is as simple as, you know, everything being in your head, and it's not. You really want to map this type of stuff out. That way, whenever you are launching something, coming up with a new program, creating social posts, you know, delegating to a team, you have a positioning doc that basically lists everything that we're going to talk about, what I spoke about in part 1, as well as what we're going to talk about today, the 6 steps that list everything so you can continue to pull from your positioning doc, okay? So I'm not going to explain the first 3. I'm going to just give it to you. But again, I highly suggest that you go and you watch part 1. If you are watching this on any platform other than our Facebook group, the Female Coaches Society, welcome and come into the Female Coaches Society. Because if you want to be in a place where you could connect with other coaches, collaborate, learn, grow, you know, all the good things that we do. We actually have a networking event coming up, and we do awesome things in our Facebook group. Then the Female Coaches Society is where you want to be. So come on over to Facebook and join us, okay? So I'm going to give you the first 3 steps, and then we're going to work through the last 3. So as I said, what you're doing is you're creating a positioning doc. So whether you do this in Google Docs, whether you do this in Microsoft Word, that's up to you. But what you're creating is a doc, okay? And the first thing that you need in this doc is you're going to want to interview a client. You know, when it comes to interviewing clients or interviewing ideal clients, or just think of who out of all the people that you've worked with over the last few years, who did you enjoy, who never had a problem paying, who you didn't have to convince, who took action, who got results. That's the person that you want to go and hire. If you are someone who you're not working with clients yet, then think of who your ideal client is as close as you could get them, because this is just a starting point and you want to conduct an interview with them, right? And last week I gave you some questions. Go watch part 1. I gave you some questions that you can ask them so you could get the right information from them. So step 1 is conduct the interview. Step 2 is on your positioning doc, start to list all the things that you found out from this interview. What do the clients say about you? What were they struggling with when they hired you? What was the deciding factor when they decided to work with you? What about your program stood out to them? Like, write all these things down. So step 1, conduct the interview. Step 2, write all this stuff down, okay? And in step 3 is for you to list all the features of your program, okay? And we're going to dig deeper down, because, you know, you don't sell features, but you got to start with the features. So step 1, conduct an interview. Step 2, make a list of all the things that you found out from that interview. I mean, listen, I don't want you to use the excuse and say, oh, but I'm a new coach, or, oh, I don't have, you know, I haven't found my ideal client yet, you know, and so I don't really have this type of information. Listen, a couple years back, I remember doing this, and I've seen other people do this as well, where you ask a simple question to your audience, you know, describe me in 1 word, and people will describe you from what they see. Positioning means, how do you show up in someone else's mind? Not what you think your brand should be, or what you think. How do you show up? How do people see you when they look at you online, when they look at your content, when they join your webinars, when they join your groups? What do they see from you, right? What do they think of you, and what do they think of your brand, and what do they think of your services? And when you know this, you are able to now position yourself even better, right? You're able to think of that. I used an example in part 1 where a lot of people describe me as very thorough. All of my clients, that seems to be a word that comes up. And so if you spend any amount of time in my community, whether it's on a free training or free live stream like this, or whether you're reading an email, you'll notice that I'm very thorough in the way that I explain things and the way that I touch every piece of what I do. Now, yes, that's something that comes natural. But what doesn't come natural is me continuing that in everything that I do and create in my business. And the only reason why I can continue that is because I actually got that information from clients first. And I was able to take that information and weave it into my brand and what I do. And so now, that's how you start to position yourself, right? If a client tells you, this is what I was feeling that made you stood out to me, this is what I was going through at that moment. A lot of times these information, but you're not using this information. This is where your messaging comes from, right? They would tell you, oh, I was suffering with headaches. I'm suffering with all these headaches, and it's hard for me to buckle down and, get all my work done in my business. And this is the reason why I'm not getting the clients I desire. You hear that, but what do you do with that information? This is where your positioning dot comes in. So when you get this type of information from your clients, you need to start using that information in your marketing, in your social posts, in your, creating everything that you're doing, so you can start to position yourself more and attract more of the same people, those people who you want to work with, those people who are ideal for you to work with. Does this start to make sense for you? If this is making sense, I want you to put make sense below, because like I said, this is something that I'm a master at and that I work with clients, and I see it all the time. Their audience will give them the information and they don't use it. They still stay stuck in their head of what they think about this is what I think about my clients. This is where my ideal clients are. This is what they're feeling. No, take it from their mouth so you can start to position yourself better. All right. So step 1 was do the client interview. Step 2 was make a list of all the things that you found out, right? And then step 3 is write a list of the features of your program. Now, really quick, if you want to know an example of what I mean when I say write a list of the features of your program, a feature is considered, like for example, with me, we have a unique process that we take our clients through. We've developed a unique process, okay? The Market Your Message framework, that is nowhere else. It's trademarked and we own it. Nowhere else would you find that, right? And so we have a unique process. And sometimes, coaches may think that because you have a signature process, that's what's going to make people buy. It's not. That's just a feature to what you offer, okay? Another thing that you may have is, let's say, let's say you have a coaching program that gives them a certification, right? That's a feature of your program. All right. So what you want to do is list all the features of working with you, in your programs or in your services. That is step 3. So now today I want to go through step 4, step 5, and step 6. It's going to be pretty easy to do because all you're pretty much doing is drilling down from the features. Okay. So step 4 is, now that you make a list of your features, you want to ask yourself, what is the benefit for each of these features? Why? Because the benefit is really what makes a person buy, not the feature. Okay. So for example, I said one of our features is that we have a unique process that we developed, the Market Your Message framework, right? Okay. Well, that's not going to make a person buy. But when I tell you that the benefit of this framework is that you're able to have a step-by-step, you know exactly what to do, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. So you will no longer feel overwhelmed and frustrated, not knowing what your next step should be to get to your ending goal. Now that starts to raise your eyebrows, because you're like, okay, that's what I need. I've been feeling frustrated. I don't want to feel frustrated anymore. I want to know step by step. I'm tired of having all the moving pieces and not knowing how it fits together. So this is the benefit of you joining a program that has a signature process, okay? A unique process that lays out step by step what you do to go from where you are to where you want to be. That is the benefit, okay? So you have your features, but then you have the benefit, right? So I want you guys, you could do this in a table, however you do this, your notebook, that part doesn't matter to me, but you want to list the features and then you want to list each benefit for those features. What is the benefit for your client when they have these features, okay? Again, the benefits is important because that's what people buy. Okay, people buy the transformation. People buy the reason, no one lays at night and say, oh, I want to buy a coaching program. But what they do say is, I want to lose these pounds. I want to be able to go up and down the stairs without huffing and puffing, right? I want to be able to get consistent clients without having to slave online day and night. These are the things that's really, and why do they want to do that, right? Why? You can even go deeper and ask again, why do they want clients, consistently? Well, because I want to be able to have stability in my income. I want to be able to leave my job eventually. I want to be able to take a vacation when I want, and I don't want to have to check in with a boss to know when I should take a vacation with my family. I want to be able to do the things that I want and buy the things that I want without worrying about how all the bills are going to be paid. I want to be able to, send my kid through college on a full ride without having to take out any loans. You can go deeper on these benefits. And if you're someone who really will take the time to do this and map out your doc, you're going to start to see the difference in how you position yourself and how people want to work with you. Why? Because you're going to be speaking their language. And so through what you do, you are positioning yourself. So now you can be that person that people say, like I shared the story in part 1, that I don't really do a lot of convincing. People literally write me and say, okay, Nyala, I'm ready. Where do I sign up? And if they do get on the phone with me, they really have there's no, I didn't know if you're for me or nothing like that. It's just needing to know the logistics and let's take the next step if they're ready. Now, does that mean that you're not going to get any more no's? Come on now, let's be real. Obviously, sometimes, yes, you are going to get no's, but if you learn how to position yourself better, you're going to get less no's and you're going to get more yeses without hesitation. So take the time to list those features. Take the time to dig into those benefits, all right? And now number 5 is, what is the value of these benefits, okay? Because this is what separates a person from saying yes to you and no to you. Yes, they want to be able to get consistent clients, but what's the value of that? Is it saving them time? Is it saving them money? Is it saving them frustration? That you got to think of. Usually when it comes to value, it's either trust, time, or money. That's how the benefit of them achieving a goal. So if you say, well, you're going to be able to lose 90 pounds in our program. Okay, what's the benefit of that? Well, you'll be able to go up and down the stairs without huffing and puffing. You'll lengthen your life. You'll have less of a chance to fall sickness, to get certain sickness that you may be afraid of getting. Okay, great. Well, what's the value of that? I'm saving your life. I'm saving you money from the hospital bills that you're going to have to pay if you were to fall sick to any of these diseases, that just losing the weight and getting out of obesity or whatever it is will help you. I'm saving you money. I'm giving you back some time in your life. And so what is the value of each of these benefits? Again, this is a positioning doc. I need you guys to not overthink this. The people who are not going to be able to hear this type of content and actually take action on it is the people who is not going to take action. It's the people who's just going to listen and say, oh, this is good. This sounds good. No, open up the doc and do the steps. Because when you're ready to map out your last 6 months content, your next 5 months content for the year, that same doc is what you can open and make sure that you are positioning yourself and you're speaking to the right things and you're using the right language and you're using the right messaging, so that way you can get the clients you desire. So actually do it. So features, benefits, the value of those benefits. That's step 5. And then lastly, it's all about the person you're trying to reach. So when you get to the next part of your doc, you're going to be actually digging into the person who you're trying to reach. This is what I call defining your market, figuring out who's your perfect person. We created a system called the Perfect Person Persona, which helps us really dig into that person who you want to work with. This is the second thing that a lot of people don't do enough, right? So their market is very broad. You don't know enough about your market to actually be able to reach your market, okay? And so the last step 6, is to really define your market. Understand all the unique things about them, not just the demographics of, oh, well, I work with women, I work with men, I work with 9-to-5 professionals, I work with, no, that's great. You want to know that, but you got to dig deeper. What are those attributes? What are those things about them? What's keeping them up at night? How do they identify themselves? That's another mistake that I see a lot of people make. You say things like, I'm a mompreneur, but do they consider themselves to be a mompreneur, or do they consider themselves to be a CEO? You got to start really digging into your market and taking the time to do the research. A lot of these questions can be answered when you interview your ideal clients. You can get a lot of those questions. You can start to ask those questions in your marketing. You can start to ask those questions in different Facebook groups where your ideal clients hang out, and start to dig deep into who your market is. These are the 6 things that you want to do. These are the 6 steps that you want to take and build out a doc so you can start to position yourself in the market. Again, why? Because the sale happens way before the sales call. From the time a person comes in contact with you and your brand, the sale is happening. The know, like, and trust factor is being built. They are already weighing their options. They are already learning more about you. They are already deciding if you are the person that they are going to want to work with when they are ready. And so that means that every single thing you do, how you show up, the things that you say, everything matters. And so you cannot wing this type of stuff. When you first start, you're winging it. I wung it. I was winging it when I first started. But because I understand how business works, I quickly started to realize, okay, you got to start doing real market research. You got to start actually listening to this market research, and you got to start making sure that you take action on this research by weaving it into everything that you do. And so that's the reason why I noticed, like, on my journey, when I first started, I was like an Instagram specialist. And trust me, I was known for it. Then I grew and I decided to start getting into webinars heavy. I was doing a lot of webinars myself, converting on webinars. So I started teaching webinars. Next thing you know, I'm starting to be asked to get on people platform to teach webinars. I became a webinar specialist and I was known for it. And then as I grew and I grew and I grew and I figured out what I was really good at and what my calling was, became messaging and knowing how to market your message, right? That is what I'm known for. So how is it that I could go from each level, from when I first started in this industry all the way until now, which is years, guys? How is it that with each pivot and which each transition I was able to go through, I still was positioned? I still was known as the expert. People were still looking at me as the thought leader on that subject and subject matter. Why? Because of the things that I'm telling you today. So I encourage you all, take action. If you have not watched part 1, I want you to watch part 1, then come back and watch this and start building out your doc. If you want to be able to get more clients and you want them to say yes without hesitation, you want to eliminate those objections, it all starts with your positioning. And what I've shared with you in part 1 and today, part 2, will help you get better and better with positioning yourself in your industry, okay? In a way that stands out, in a way that's going to call in your people, right? And so definitely, I just can't challenge you enough to take action on this, all right? This has brought us to the end of Money Marketing Monday today. I want to just give you guys a reminder that we do have our virtual networking event, our soiree, the Spill the Tea soiree that we do. This is our first soiree since, I think it was February, before I went in the hospital. Our last one was in February. So we're back with our virtual networking events. Those who've been in it, who's been in one of our events already, let the people know below how awesome it is, how you're able to connect and meet other women in your industry, what they're doing. It is just an awesome event that we do. It's next Monday, the 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You'll find the information in the pinned post in this group. And I'm going to also make sure that one of our team members put the link below so you can register, okay? That is your reminder. I cannot wait to catch up with you, ladies. We have a lot of games. We're going to do one-on-ones. We're going to do round robin style where you get paired with people. Really make those connections that you need in your business so you can grow. It's going to be awesome. Okay? All right. So thank you so much for being with me, and I will see you all next week.